To speak of the 2009 film Dragonball Evolution is not merely to review a movie, it is to conduct a forensic examination of a cultural artifact, to dissect a moment in time when Hollywood's ambition, creative ignorance, and profound misunderstanding of a global phenomenon converged into a perfect storm of cinematic malpractice. Released by 20th Century Fox, this film stands as one of the most infamous and reviled live-action adaptations in history, a case study in how not to translate a beloved, sprawling epic from one medium to another. It is a film that failed not just on a technical or narrative level, but on a fundamental, spiritual level, betraying the very essence of Akira Toriyama's creation at every conceivable turn. The anticipation that preceded its release cannot be overstated. Dragon Ball, in all its manga and anime forms, was not just a popular show. It was a generational touchstone, a cornerstone of Japanese pop culture that had successfully conquered the globe. Its story of Son Goku, a pure-hearted, simple-minded alien prodigy, and his quest for self-improvement, adventure, and the 7 mystical Dragon Balls, was a vibrant tapestry of martial arts fantasy, science fiction, and mythology, inspired by the classic Chinese tale Journey to the West. The world was ready for a big-budget adaptation, especially in a post-Lord of the Rings and post-Spider-Man era where fantasy and comic book properties were being treated with newfound respect and colossal budgets. What audiences received, however, was a hollowed-out caricature, a film that seemed almost ashamed of its source material, actively stripping away every unique element that made Dragon Ball what it was. The catastrophe begins, as it must, with the protagonist. The Son Goku of the source material is a force of nature, a child of the wilderness who is defined by his innocence, his joyous love of combat, his loyalty, and his spiky, untamable hair. The film, in an act of profound creative cowardice, jettisons this entirely. Instead, we are introduced to Goku, played by Justin Chatwin, as a mopey, unpopular high school senior. This is not Dragon Ball. It is a rejected script for a Spider-Man prequel. This Goku is burdened by teenage angst, pines for the popular girl, Chi-Chi, and is bullied by local jocks. His powers are not a source of joy but a burden he must hide. His grandfather, Gohan, is not a kind, secluded martial arts master but a walking dispenser of fortune cookie wisdom who inexplicably gifts Goku a Dragon Ball for his 18th birthday, urging him to be different. The film fundamentally mistakes relatability for banality, dragging an epic character down into the most tired and generic of American high school drama tropes. This Peter Parkerization of Goku is the film's original sin, from which all other failures flow. The plot, consequently, is not a grand adventure but a clumsy revenge and prophecy narrative. Grandpa Gohan is murdered by Lord Piccolo, motivating this listless teenager to seek out Master Roshi. The quest for the Dragon Balls feels like a secondary concern, a mere MacGuffin race rather than the central, wondrous engine of the plot. The entire story is compressed into a generic, save-the-world timeline, centered around a solar eclipse that will, for reasons that remain baffling, empower Piccolo to unleash devastation. The rich, exploratory nature of Dragon Ball, the sense of a wide, weird world full of dinosaurs, quirky technology, and bizarre characters, is surgically removed and replaced with generic locations. A drab urban landscape, a nondescript desert, and a temple that looks like a set from Mortal Kombat: Annihilation. The supporting cast is subjected to a similar process of aggressive homogenization. Bulma, the brilliant, brash, and comically vain inventor who kicks off the entire Dragon Ball saga with her selfish but charming quest, is transformed. Played by Emmy Rossum, this Bulma is a tough weapons expert whose personality is reduced to carrying a large gun and exchanging strained banter with Goku. The blue hair is there, but the spirit is absent. The casting of the legendary Chow Yun-fat as Master Roshi seemed, on paper, to be the film's one brilliant move. Yet, the script betrays him. The Roshi of the anime is a lecherous, deceptively frail-looking ancient warrior, the inventor of the Kamehameha wave, and a source of both genuine wisdom and problematic comedy. The film's Roshi is a man in a Hawaiian shirt living in a cluttered city apartment, his legendary perversions erased, but his wisdom and power replaced with vague platitudes and a single, unimpressive display of airbending. Even more tragic is the treatment of the villain, Lord Piccolo. In the source material, Piccolo Daimao is a true demon, a being of pure evil who brings the world to its knees, kills major characters, and represents a terrifying, apocalyptic threat. James Marsters, an actor beloved by geek culture for his role as Spike in Buffy the Vampire Slayer and a genuine fan of Dragon Ball, was cast. He reportedly fought for a more faithful adaptation, but what appeared on screen was a disaster. Instead of the muscular, antenna-sporting Namekian demon, Marsters is buried under pounds of unconvincing, pale green prosthetic makeup, looking more like a dehydrated alien from a 1990s Star Trek episode than a world-ending threat. His motivation is generic domination. His backstory as a demon king, sealed away for millennia, is rushed and weightless, and his fearsome power is reduced to floating and throwing poorly rendered CGI objects. The film's mythology is a grotesque simplification of Toriyama's lore. The Kamehameha wave, an iconic attack that represents the culmination of spiritual and physical training, is taught to Goku in a single afternoon training montage. It is treated not as a blast of focused ki energy, but as a kind of mystical force push that can light up a few candles. The ki itself is described as a life force in the most generic terms possible, robbing it of its distinct visual and thematic identity. The single greatest betrayal, however, is reserved for the climax, the Uzaru, or Great Ape. In the original story, Goku's tail causes him to transform under a full moon into a gigantic, rampaging ape monster, a brilliant nod to his Saiyan heritage and journey to the West. In Dragon Ball Evolution, the solar eclipse triggers Goku to transform into a gaunt, gray, vaguely humanoid creature with pointy ears and furless skin, a creature that looks like a reject from Underworld. It is not a kaiju, it is a cheap, rubber-suited monster, and the transformation is reversed not by severing the tail, but by Master Roshi performing some vague mystical rite. The action, the very lifeblood of the Dragon Ball franchise, is perhaps the most insulting failure. Dragon Ball is defined by impossible speed, landscape-shattering energy blasts, and acrobatic, physics-defying combat. The film provides sluggish, poorly choreographed, and heavily edited wire-fu sequences that lack any sense of weight, impact, or power. The camera cuts rapidly to hide the mediocrity of the stunt work, and the special effects are a decade behind their time, even for 2009. The final battle between Goku and Piccolo is not an epic showdown for the fate of the planet. It is a dull, muddy scuffle in a quarry, ending as abruptly and nonsensically as it began. The legacy of Dragon Ball Evolution is one of pure infamy. It was savaged by critics, earning a 15% on Rotten Tomatoes, and was rejected globally by the audience it was trying to court. It was a commercial bomb, grossing only $58 million worldwide against a $30 million budget, killing the planned sequels instantly. The screenwriter, Ben Ramsey, would eventually issue a public apology to the fans years later, admitting he went into the project for the paycheck and messed up. But perhaps the film's failure had one positive, unintended consequence. The sheer, profound awfulness of Dragon Ball Evolution, its complete and total misunderstanding of his life's work, is rumored to be one of the primary factors that motivated Akira Toriyama himself to return to the franchise. Feeling that Dragon Ball had been misrepresented and disrespected, Toriyama re-engaged with his creation, leading directly to the 2013 film Battle of Gods and the subsequent explosion of new content in Dragon Ball Super. In this, Dragon Ball Evolution found its only meaningful purpose. It was so catastrophically bad, so offensive to the spirit of the original, that it served as a vaccine. It shocked the franchise's immune system back to life, reminding its original creator and the world why Dragon Ball was worth protecting. It is not a movie, but a warning, a $30 million monument to creative arrogance.